Greetings, dear ones. I had an important email come today, or rather, a message on my Instagram. Someone shared their deep troubles and she's unable to come to terms with the reality that she has lost her parents. A year back or so, she says she lost both her parents and she doesn't feel it's been even a year, and still that void is there, that deep void is there. And she's unable to come to terms with this reality that they are no more on this physical plane. So it is a curious mail asking to about what could be happening to them, where they have gone, and I'm just curious to know if they are okay. On the other side, when the souls move on from their physical bodies, we say they passed over to the other side. Other side is the astral or the subtle realms, and they are no more physical, no more gross. So she's asking a little more about deaths because she wants to, I think she wants to pacify her void with this insight, in this knowledge. But at the same time, she's very honest enough to reveal that despite all her spiritual knowledge, it has not helped her in coming to terms with this reality that she's facing today. And she's also asking some things like, I'm just curious, but can I communicate with them? And can I get in touch with them? And she also at the same time says that I understand it's my childishness or immaturity that I am trying to do this. So on one side, she feels, I perhaps feel that this is not right. She shouldn't be doing this because she confesses that it is. I know it's due to my attachment that this is coming, but I can't help it. That's what she says. So overall, she's trying to say that she's just curious because she wants to her parents to be happy. Ultimately, she draws a line and says that ultimately it is that I want them to be happy wherever they are, and so I want to know. And basically, she is actually trying to cope up with this void and cope up with and come to terms with this and how to live on, how to move on. That's what she's trying to ask. And she is unable to get off this deep attachment also. So she is trying to seek help on that. So basically, and there are other details, but I think these are the main important points which I just thought I'll pick it up and make this video and provide my insights on what I can relate to. Because these questions which I just mentioned, this what I shared about her sharing these details, these are, I know, most of our curiosities and most of our worries and most of our grief that we hold on with people who have passed on, especially our loved ones who have passed on. So it is how to deal with this kind of a grief. So it is basically grief, not deep grief that is there, a deep sadness on missing our loved ones. So again, as I say, these are my insights. If your consciousness feels connected to this and you can relate with this, if your soul relates with this, you can relate and take it as your guiding system or something as your help. If not, you are welcome to dump it and move on. So I have explained many times during my lives. The past 2.5 years I've been doing these lives, and during the COVID, the moment COVID struck 2 years ago, and we had immediately had lockdown, and first time the whole world was getting into a lockdown. They didn't know how to deal with it, and what they could not know was how to deal with the deaths and the fear, the deep fear that had gripped the entire world, because never before we have seen deaths like this and uncertainty. Today we are there, we do not know whether next moment we will exist, our loved ones will exist. And this, I believe, this phase of 2 years of pandemic was a very deep connection. What I say is deep relativity with our close encounters with death. We have seen death so closely. So that was the time I had begun my life, and Most of the time everybody was locked in their homes, and I was doing this 7 to 8 hours of life almost every day, and that kept us busy, myself also busy, and the people who were there in the live sessions also busy, and there we were talking on these kind of subjects. So if you want to actually go very deep into this death and what happens beyond and all that, I cannot explain this short video, but you may go to my YouTube channel, Shifting into Awareness, and look out for those videos. You'll easily find it if you just put death there in search also, you'll get it, and there you can relate to what all the details, and these details about death and all are from the deep wisdom that we have from our Siddha lineages and references, and some of my deep insights with my personal encounters with loved one's death, like my own father's death, and how he transitioned right in front of me. He left his body, and all those details, all those details of how we relate to at that time, and how prepared or unprepared we can be. So these are my personal experiences also, along with all the deep knowledges, esoteric knowledge that our lineages offer. So, and deep gratitude to my master who has taught about this subject and revealed so much on this subject, because all his events were mostly revolving around these, because it was about our own, he had great sessions, great events called The Art of Dying, which I have attended many, and it's my personal experiences through those events that I had with my master, and how I can relate with life and death at the same time. So it's like seeing our own death and relating with our own death. I have had, which I have mentioned in a couple of live sessions also, my own death encounters, which were kind of like trailers, I believe, which life gave me, and made me really understand firsthand how death feels like when I was lifted out of my body, and I had this kind of astral projection or out of body experience deep at night, and all those gave me some good insights about how life and death is about, which I then spoke about in those live. So you can go into that, you will get deep insights about death and beyond. Now, to basically just talk about these things, how we are to handle, because these last 2 years we have seen so many deaths. I mean, I have been moving around and I came across so many people and so many of my friends who lost their loved ones and are unable to still cope up with it. I know my very close friends whose parents passed away, whose mother passed away, and he's still to come to that grounded reality that this has happened, still in unbelief. They cannot believe that this has happened. So these are all depending on our human psychology, the mind, how prepared your mind is about these subjects. So if you are aware of these subjects about death and what happens and all that, if you are knowing, even if you don't have an experience, but if you have good wisdom about it, and that means you are prepared mentally, at least you are prepared. So that is the reason I am sharing these kind of insights, so that we mentally at least become prepared about something what is called as death, so that we are not really scared to death when we think about death. Death, please understand, is a very natural process. If we are born, we have to die, because this is a dual plane we are existing on. If there is a day, there is a night. If there is a boy, there is a girl. If there is black, there is white. Everything is opposites and everything is dual here, right? All functions on duality. So if there is death, there has to be birth, and if there is birth, there has to be death. So these are all dual aspects. Knowing that death is certain some or the other time may give us jitters, but at the same time, what makes us feel happy about, if you really can relate with the subject, is that you never die. It is only your physical body that collapses, but you, the real you, which I always talk in Shifting into Awareness, you are that pure consciousness, you are that soul which is aware of its existence, that soul which is really aware of where it has come from, where it is going. Soul knows, you do not know. You means, right now I am talking to you, the you, the ego self, the identity which we have put on, the layers of ignorance which we identify ourselves with, and then we call, this is me, this is my body, this is my name, this is my people, this is my family, this is my friends. The me and mine comes with that identification, and then we fall into the grip of that false I. This is not the real I. See, if you are centered in your real I, these things will not affect you. These things affect, and the more deeper it affects, how it affects means, the more deeper you are connected to your body consciousness and to the false I, the more you are connected to that false I, thinking that you are this body, the more pain and the more grief and the more sufferings you will have, because attachment comes from this idea of duality. Please understand, even attachment to parents or children or family or anybody that you are attached to, this can happen only when you are in a duality state of consciousness. Duality means you feel yourself separate from the existence, the false I, that I am this body. I am this body, and that is my father's body, this is my mother's body, this is my wife's body, this is my husband's body, this is my children's body. So you identify everybody bodily, by their name, by their form, by their character, by their personality, by all these qualities we identify. We never look at these people as souls. First of all, we never look at ourselves as soul. The first thing, it begins with ourselves. We have to keep in deep awareness that I am not this body, I am this soul. It might not be a reality to you. That's not an issue at all. But when you at least consciously bring forth this awareness of the reality that you are that soul, I am not this body. Even if you keep saying to yourself, you don't have experience, that's different. But if you keep saying to yourself also repeatedly and reminding yourself that you are not this body, it will help a great deal, because what you will do is subconsciously you will program. And subconscious details of the false I will go down, and this reality will start coming up, and you will start living in this reality. And when the time comes of moving on, then you won't be much perturbed. But if you are absolutely not in this reality, you don't live in this, and you are completely in body consciousness, very strongly attached to your body, the me and mine, suffering will be immense, my dear ones, I'm telling you. Now, already even during life also we suffer so much due to our attachment. Anything happens to our loved one, we can't bear it, we can't bear to see it. We suffer so much every time. Even if nothing happens, just in the worry that something might happen, we suffer so much. This is because of the duality. This is because we are just looking at everything bodily, physicality, in the grossness we are looking at. So, the more you identify yourself subtly, the real you, the pure awareness that you are, and you practice this awareness and awareness on your loved ones, and see them as the light beings, the souls who have come. And if you really understand the soul journey, from where they come, where they go, actually nobody is associated with you. Are you getting this? This whom we suffer as my parents passed away, my loved ones passed away, and I'm unable to grieve. If you might be surprised that most of the cases when they pass on, they don't even look back. The beings that we called as loved ones, or parents, or whoever, children or whatever, when they pass on, they are just souls, and they had this contract with you, and they came on earth to live this contract with you, this karmic debt of give and take. And the moment that is over, the contract is over, they move on. And when they move on, I mean it, they move on. Most of them move on. They just go on without even looking back. Then once you're out of the body, let me tell you, once you're out of the body, the soul recognizes itself, its true self. It does not recognize while it's in the body. It's identified with all these identifications, the ego self. But when it rises above the body, most of the souls, I don't mean all the souls will understand this, because the more gross they are, it becomes difficult for them to identify. So the souls, when they leave their body, it depends on how they have lived their life. If they have lived their life in awareness, they will become aware of who am I? And immediately they will become aware of the karmic contracts. Okay, this is done with. Okay, I got to move now. I've got other things to do. And they move on. They might take another womb. They might go into another dimension, whatever, depending on their soul contracts. And it is we who sit here thinking and worrying about them. They must have even gone. We do not know. And let me tell you, it's not necessary to know. As you said, I want to know where they are. It's not necessary to know. The more you get involved in these details, the more you suffer, because the more you are deepening that attachment. How long are you going to follow somebody? When you must come to this understanding that not everybody is going to be with you forever in this soul journey. Souls come and go. Today, who are your parents might come back into your life as somebody else, might even come back as your enemy. Let me tell you this. If you have not had very good relations with your parents, they have chances of coming back into your life as your enemy, as your neighbor, as your friend, as your whoever, and finishing that karmic contract. So please understand, this is the play of consciousness. If you get deeply understanding about this, you can refer to my live videos where I have talked for hours together about mystics, especially Ma Laleshwari. I have talked about. You'll check out her videos. If you listen to that video and if you understand, see the story that I have gone very depth, I have gone full depth with these mystics who have lived and who have found out that how foolish it is that we associate so deeply and with so much of attachment to souls which are only temporarily there in our life because of some karmic contract. And her confusion, Ma Laleshwari's confusion, when she sees her son was of her previous life, son is now in this life as her husband. And the dilemma she goes through, real stories, these are real ones. The dilemma that she has, because now she's in a dilemma because she is a person of higher consciousness and she can see, she can relate to who this person. We do not know. We are so identified with the body that we do not even know who are these people whom we are living with. This is not the first time you have met them. You are having multiple lifetime journeys with them. So if your consciousness is lower, you won't be able to relate to you. All that you will be able to relate is this lifetime. This lifetime they are this way, they are that way. They are this, they are that. And then you deeply identify with that. But they are not really that. So once you understand this, why I am telling you these things, why I have made so many sessions on these deeper aspects about past lives, future lives, and our soul journeys, our karmic depths with our loved ones, so-called loved ones, and how the journey continues or discontinues or takes a bad shape or good shape, depending on how much awareness we live in these subjects. Why I am focusing on that is because once you understand that in depth, the law of karma, the law of how the soul's journey is, the evolution of the soul, once you understand this very clearly, detachment will begin automatically. You cannot force detachment while you are living, because this person said, I know I am deeply attached and that is the cause of my suffering, but I can't do anything despite the spiritual knowledge. So this is also spiritual knowledge, but I am telling you, but if you catch the right knowledge, you will be able to know. Just knowing that, what happens after death, they go to some other lokas, or they go to the Pitraloka, or they are hanging up there, or they are loitering around. Just having this incomplete stuff will not help. The possibilities of the soul are infinite. What they do, we do not know. Nobody knows. It depends on their soul journeys. And so it is not wise, as I suggest, to go on finding out where they are, what they are doing, how they are. Don't get into all that. I have known many people who even channel, who try to channel to the souls and connect through them through some mediums. There are people who do all that stuff. But then I have seen there is no gati. The gati means there is no evolution for that soul, nor the person who's this side on the earth plane. Because it's simply a useless drama. You had attachment while they were alive. Now they are gone. This is an opportunity to learn and let go. But we are still carrying on deeper attachments by doing all these things. It is not going to help them nor you. How is it going to help to know what they are doing? Souls are even curious. The souls who pass on, they are also curious to know what their loved ones are doing back on earth. And the immense pain and suffering that they undergo just because of this curiosity. There are souls that loiter around. They don't get mukti, or they don't get liberated. They are just moving around because of their deep attachment to their homes, to their property, to their children, to their family. That's enough to keep you loitering around. And it goes on for, you know, I don't know the time period. It just goes on. It's never ending. And it even goes on to such an extent that if they are not really satisfied with the karmic debts that they have dealt with you, and there is all possibility that they are not satisfied and they want to come back into your life. Like most of us say that loved ones have gone, our loved ones have gone, now we want them in our life in some other, or I want to meet them somewhere. It's a catch actually. There are already beings in your family who are gone to a different zone called the Pitruloka. The Pitruloka is the ancestral realm where the Pitrus are, that is your ancestors, who are not contented, who have not fulfilled yet. So, since their deeper attachments are there with the family, they move around or remain stuck in the lokas called the Pitruloka. Why do they remain stuck? Because they are constantly watching, they are constantly craving, they want that thing to happen again. Deep attachment. And there they suffer. Whatever is happening to you here, if let's say you are suffering all day and night, weeping and sobbing and about your parents, thinking about them all day and night, that's a vibration that you're giving to your loved ones. And those vibrations are felt by the loved ones who pass on. And there is all possibility, if you are suffering here, they also suffer. Because they suffer because they cannot do anything because they do not have a physical body. Their soul is there. They can see, they can feel, they can understand, they can relate to, but they cannot do anything because they don't have a body. And to relate with us people who are the five senses people, all that we know is the language of the five senses. Apart from this, we do not know anything. So if they have to relate with us, they need these five senses, and five senses are in the body. So they need a body. And if they don't have a body, that's a big trouble. They suffer, deeply suffer, because they want they have the same reciprocal feelings that you are giving out here. So please understand this. The more you suffer, the more you remember them. The more you remember them is the more you are invoking them all the time. So you are not basically letting them go. And if we say that we want their good to happen, then we must understand, we must really understand this life journey. We must understand that in their happiness is in letting go of them. If we are chaining them and we say we want their happiness, it's actually contradictory. It's not true. If you really want happiness, you must let them go wherever they go. Not that, chain means even we say, okay, let them go. And then I want to know where have they gone. So you're still chaining them. Are you understanding it? Let go means completely gone, because their role is played and they are gone. I cannot explain this more deeply because, once you see, for example, once you relate and you see the same people who have played different roles in your life, in past life, your same father, mother was something else in your past life. And before that, there was something else. They have been changing roles, changing bodies, changing the relationships with you. But the soul is the same. And we are every time getting identified with that particular role that they play. They come as a father, we get deeply attached as a father. Next life, they might come as a daughter, we get deeply attached as a daughter. Next, after that, they might come as an enemy, we get deeply attached with that. See how the karmic debt, we are playing this game, give and take in different relationships. Once you understand this, you will understand the nonsensical play that we are simply getting distracted, and that is what we call as being stuck. That is what we call being stuck in the recycling, in the cycle of death and birth. Again and again we come here and go, meaningless. Till when does this happen? Till you realize what I am saying here. Till you finally understand that this is not how life functions. This is definitely not how life functions. So once you understand this, that is why I am not stressing on what happens. There is a lot that happens after death. For that, I told you, listen to that video. There are multiple videos that I have made. Listen in depth. I have talked about what exactly happens even during death, after death, and all that stuff. So I'm not talking that here. What I'm trying to tell you is bring you an awareness of how important this is, and an overall understanding of this will itself start unleashing that. the detachment. Detachment that you need to have. But I'm telling you, you cannot directly say, I'm going to be detached. You cannot do that. Because deep inside, you have deep karmic connections with them. So once you understand the story, then you will be able to automatically from within that thing will come. Once you know, that's what I'm saying. See that video about Malaleshwaran. Once you see, there'll be a certain kind of disgusting details, and you'll feel how unimportant these details are. Then all that you'll focus is, okay, that I have got right now. What I have got, these are the relationships that I've got, and these are the karmic debts that people I'm connected with. So there is a give and take. So you'll start focusing on what is that give and take that I need to do now in full awareness and finish off the deal and not create any further deals with them. You will come to that kind of an existence. And believe me, until you come to that kind of an existence, you are going to be otherwise caught up in all these unwanted details. So my heart goes out for you when you say that you are deeply missing them and all that, because I know the grief, the pain that happens with suffering, with this attachment. I know how it feels, but I'm not sympathizing with you so that I nail that deeply further into your heart, causing more trouble. I would rather pluck out that nail, even if it causes a little more pain while plucking it out. I would rather come to the point straight. So don't bother too much about the channeling stuff and where they are communicating. It's of no use, neither to them nor to your soul journey. Please understand. And once they have finished their job, they have moved on, let them move on, please. The only benefit that you can do to them is release them out of your psyche. Release them in many ways. There are multiple ways. There are sadhanas which are taught when my master used to teach how to do the Pitru ascension, how to ascend the departed ones, and how to let them guide them into further higher dimensions. So even if you don't have that knowledge, it's okay. Only this much understanding is enough. Your prayer is enough. Every day when you pray, just pray for them. Pray for them not with that detachment, oh please, in tears, let them, that's deep attachment. That's not going to help you. That's only going to cause more bondage. Rather, pray that now I have understood, my job is done, their job is done. What a beautiful life journey it was with them. And they finished as per the laws of the divine. When the thing is finished, they have gone. Okay, now I am left with the rest of the karmic debts. So let me focus on this. But the people who came into my life, I value them, I respect them. So much of gratitude because of them. I came into earth. They brought me here. They did a beautiful job. They did their wonderful responsibility of bringing me into this earth and giving me this body and this life. I bow in gratitude. And every lifetime, I have had different parents who have done that, who have moved on. So these parents also came in like a temporary transition, to just bring me to earth, and I'm grateful. In this lifetime, these parents, I'm grateful. And in every lifetime, whichever parents I had, I'm grateful to them. May they all ascend. This kind of how, this kind of intention, this kind of deep feeling and of gratitude. And when you speak to the divine, when you're communicating, see them go into light. Or when you're meditating, just pray for them and see them evaporating into the higher dimensions, into higher light, being absorbed into that. That is how you ensure that they are going higher. If for some reason they are not ascended and they are moving around, pray for their ascension. Pray whichever lokas they are. And you might not know, they must have taken birth somewhere else also, in maybe even lower bodies or higher bodies, you don't know. So what we say is, wherever they are, however they are, may they be blessed and may they evolve higher and higher. This is my gift, because this is my gratitude for what you have done for me. This is how I repay my karmic debt for my loved ones and my ancestors. So this is how I release my debt with them and finish off the karmic debt with them. So have this kind of a notion and understanding. And with this kind of an awareness, if you keep on looking and visualizing, but please go into those details, those other videos that I've made, so that you actually feel that from within, that detachment comes from within. That has to come, and that will only come with awareness on this subject, first-hand awareness. So practice more of these kind of awareness and be aware of who you are. be more aware of who you are, the real you, because when you get into the real you and you are centered in that awareness, all these dramas will collapse. Mark my words, I'm telling you. These dramas will just start collapsing of all these attachments and all that. For that, you have to become aware of who you really are. Maybe you don't have to have great experiences and all that. Just this awareness all this time of who you are. I am this precious soul, and this is my evolution. I'm going, and I am not going to die. I don't die. After this, I'm going to leave this, and I have some better journey, and I'm going. It's never-ending journey. So I never die. So what is there to fear? And I never die. The only fear is of losing this body. Never mind. You have taken so many bodies in the past, and you can take more bodies if you really want. If you want to be more stuck, you can take more bodies. If you don't want it, then learn to evolve in more awareness of that you can even liberate in this lifetime itself and reduce your attachments and reduce the births, or have nullified the births. You directly ascend off into the astral higher dimensions and enjoy that freedom and liberation than being tied up with all this. I don't know if this video is enough, but I think 30 minutes is enough, and if anything more comes up on this subject, or I have not seen that full mail again, let me read it. If anything more is there, I'll come up with a part 2 on this same subject, or I feel this much is more than enough to give you an understanding and give you relief. I'm telling you, you are solely relieved if you understand this video in deep awareness. So with lots of divine love and light to you, may we all be blessed, may your soul also evolve, and may we have this deep awareness of who we are, from where we have come, and where we are going. Stay blessed, Deva.